since the last few general elections in Singapore, there have been almost all the opposition aspiring candidate and who have been campaigning will talk about the amount of salaries that the Singapore Parliament cabinet minister receive in terms of their annual compensation, saying that it's very high, and along this narrative as one of the issues to so-called talk about. But here we come about, I'm going to deal with the principal contradiction number 2, about why you campaigning about the how much salary minister receive, how much, or even actually how much the political office holder receive the salary is not going to make too much of a difference in terms of the whole social economic environment in Singapore. Why? Because everyone always know how to compare the salary of the prime ministers, the cabinet ministers for Singapore versus other countries. Then we would like to compare that, okay, in countries like this, in countries like that, the salary of political office holder are not so high. And very common, we always hear that even in the country, like even in the US, the president of the US receives a maximum of 400,000 a year. So that's what we always hear. But so far, what I have observed is that by far, I don't think there is any opposition candidate or opposition party narrative that dare to compare the political office holder salary with, and then talk about the salaries of key management personnel on all the Singapore Stock Exchange listed company. Because I think you compare you already siao one eh. You know why or not? Because most of the major key management personnel in the SGX, that means Singapore Stock Exchange listed company, you can go and open the annual report. A lot of these companies have the annual salaries of key management that are actually way higher than what the current political office holder are holding. So no one dares to open this can. What I'm seeing is that no one dares to open this can. And this leads me to the principal contradiction number 2. Is that actually is very scared to compare. Why? We should be very scared to compare. And why? Because the more you go and open the annual reports of the SGX, the listed company, the key management personnel, the salaries, then we will see wow, so high. But then the issue is this: Singapore is small country, bo pian, we have to be somewhat business friendly. So that's why for the businesses, for the SGX, all the listed company, I am afraid that if the government actually pass a law to say that how much you can pay yourself, how much the listed company can pay the CEO, then I'm quite afraid that overnight, actually the whole Singapore got nothing to nothing to eat, because not business friendly. Then investors don't want to come. So to me, this is also a real risk. So of course, back to the issue of how much salaries the political office holders are going to draw. Of course, we talk about doing a so-called public service, so there should be some form of sacrifice and things like that, right? But this leads us really to deal with the issue of principal contradiction number 2, which is we talk about inequality versus having rice to eat. Because imagine the government pass a law and say that all the salary cannot above how much. Then people will see us as it's not business friendly. Then maybe not so many people want to do business here. We also so government also in a tight spot. Whether is it the ruling party, the PAP, or is it opposition candidate going to campaign, all in a tight spot actually. But so far what I'm seeing is there is very little people dare to take the risk to offend the business community. This is what I am seeing. And I just want to share one thing quite interesting is that recently there was some news, I think about just 1 year back, if I remember correctly, is that in the mainland of China, because we always overlook about China, but China is a communist country. Why? Because in mainland China, there was a law that passed in the Communist Party that says that for the certain category of the state-owned bank in mainland China, I think they passed a limit saying that the top senior executive of state-owned bank cannot draw a salary of more than 3 million renminbi in annual salaries. So that means it's about say 500,000 to 600,000 Singapore dollars per year. And if you look at the Singapore, all the banks let's look at the banking sector, the real estate sector, how many people already have annual salary of more than 500,000 already? So I tell you, we don't talk about Singapore, you talk about Southeast Asia, okay? You just look at Southeast Asia. The people in Southeast Asia working in banking, in real estate, how many people is earning more than 500,000 Singapore dollars per year? More than that. So, but then Southeast Asia is different country together. Or is no matter what, there's still some level of more capitalist kind of thing. So all the government also scared of all these people. So the government also scared to move. But we overlook that, hello, China is a communist country. And a communist country with a very, very strong government, whether or not they are right or wrong, what they say, what they really mean what they say. Of course, before we debate about what is right and what is wrong, that one is another question. But we always overlook about China is that it is a communist country. So in communist country, whatever they say, it is what it is. Whether people like it or not, it is what it is. The vested interests like it or not, it is what it is. So this is the thing about China, which I'm going to talk about a bit more. But basically, it is a communist country. We overlook that it is a communist country. We always want to compare China to other not so communist countries like US, Japan, and South Korea. But then the comparison is wrong because China is a communist country.